coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to my games room. Today we're taking a look at Wingspan by Stonemaier Games. This isn't a game I would necessarily recommend for a classroom. It's really educational, but it's not one that I'd recommend for a classroom, simply because the content is I don't know that there's anything. This game teaches all about birds, their habitats, their wingspans, their eggs, their types of nests they lay, and things. There's a whole bunch of information that's contained in here. So I don't know that it's a bit focused in its for anything that would be applicable to a classroom. I mean, you could do it for a high school biology perhaps, but again, to be so focused on just the birds just seems a bit much. So this is definitely a kind of game that I would be encouraging play of at home, particularly if you have a fondness for birds, ornithology as it were. So in looking at the report card for Wingspan, I'm going to give the number of players an A. And I give it the A because it's plays 1 to 5 players. And now I like that normally a lot of games nowadays will play 4 players, and that's sort of the upper limit. This one plays 5, and it plays it well. I played with 5 players, and it plays great. It also, as I said, 1 to 5. So the fact that it plays solo mode is a big draw for some people. Like if you just have a quiet night at home, you're all by yourself, and you just kind of like it that way. Great. Pull out Wingspan. You can play with yourself. If you maybe can't find anybody else to play with you. You wish you could, but you can't. Hey, you know what? Crack out Wingspan and have a game. So however you slice it, then you can do it yourself or up to 5 people, which is a nice number for games. And the fact that it includes that solo mode is what really kind of pushes it over the top for me. For learning, I'm going to give the game an A. I mean, it's one of these games that where you reminds me of like Cytosis, the cellular biology game, where you take something which you wouldn't think you'd be able to make so educational in a board game, and it is so educational in a board game, but it does it in such a way that it's just seamless and beautiful and just kind of gets in there, and before you know it, you're learning without even meaning to. It's just a fantastic game with all the information that's contained in there. There are hundreds of different birds in this game that you can learn about as you play it. There's I don't know how many cards there are off the top of my head, hundreds, and no 2 cards are the same. Every card represents a different bird. Every bird has its wingspan, it has its habitats, it has types of nests that it lays, number of eggs it lays. It has so much on there, as well as more information all over the card. It's truly fantastic for, as I say, learning anything to do with birds. Not as a focus study, but just to sort of pick up the information as you go along. It's wonderful. For fun, I'm going to give the game an A. I've played this game a few times. I went into this game highly skeptical because when it came out, it was all the new hotness. And sometimes I get a little bit critical of the new hotness games where this new game is out and everybody's got to play it, everybody's got to have it, and it sells out everywhere, and by the time I get around to playing it, I'm realizing, what was all the fuss about? Well, there's a lot of fuss about this game, and there has been a lot of fuss about this game, and there still is a lot of fuss about this game, and it's been out for a few months now, and I think it's well deserved. It's an excellent game with a lot of great strategies and things going on. The fact, like I said, every card is different means that every time you play it, you're going to be employing different strategies. You have different objective cards that you're going to be doing to score your points. Overall, wonderful. Love it. Very good game. Solid A. For time, I'm going to give the game a B. It's the kind of, for this kind of game, it does exactly what it needs to. It plays in about 40 to 70 minutes is what the box says, and in my experience, that's approximately correct. I don't know if I've ever played as quickly as 40 minutes, but that might be the solo mode, which I haven't tried myself yet. But the games we've played have been somewhere around the hour mark. And so I think that's an accurate statement to say 40 to 70, depending on the number of players you have and their experience with the game. So this kind of game, I think that's what you're looking for. And I think that anything too quick would not be doing the game justice for everything that you have going on. You're trying to build these little engines and things going on of different, the way the birds interact and you chain them off each other in terms of the way that different birds can help each other to accrue your points and things that you need. And So if it ended too soon, you'd feel a little bit like, oh, well, I was just kind of getting things going, but if it game took too long, then it would just feel like it's overstaying its welcome. I think in the 40-70 minute mark, this game really hits a sweet spot, and that's why I give it the B. So for cost, I'm going to give the game a B. The game at Level Up Games right now is going on for $49.95, which I think is a very reasonable price for a game like this. A game, that may seem like a lot of money to some people for just a board game, but when you consider that this game costs you less than it would to go out for a night at the movies or a dinner at a nice restaurant with you and a couple, your significant other or whomever, those costs can pretty much. Those costs can rack up pretty quickly too. So, whereas those are an experience that you have and you can remember, this is something that you can keep forever. And this is the way I look at it. That's I prefer to spend my money sometimes on things like this because I know that it's something that I can have in my collection and keep forever and play whenever I want. So the enjoyment I get from it is ongoing, and so you really can get your money's worth out of a good game like Wingspan. So in that case, in my opinion, then it's definitely worth the $50 and deserves a B. All right, so I'm not going to give you a full run through on how the game is played, but I will open it up, show you some of the components, and give you some idea of some of the educational things inside it, and a little bit about how it's played, but not a full tutorial on how to play. So one thing I want to show you with Wingspan is the components and the quality of the attention that's gone into the interior of the box as well. It's really quite nicely done. So let's get the lid off here. So these are the rules. And no, I didn't stuff my Cadbury mini eggs in here. These are actually some of the components to the game. These are the eggs that you'll be using. The colors of the eggs don't matter. You'll be using the eggs for different things. You have these dice, and you have this cool little dice tray that dice tower that you build. So it hooks on here like so, and then you're able to put the dice into the back of the birdhouse and have them roll them for you. So in a controlled way that you're not flinging dice all over the table all the time. They just go into there, and cool little feature. I mean, they didn't have to do that, but they did, and it's nice, and especially that it's thematic with the birdhouse and easily disassembles and for storage. Like so. Every player is going to have their own little board here. It looks like a leather-bound. This it's paper, but it looks like a leather-bound booklet someone might be keeping for notes on their bird watching, and it has all these things here where you have the three habitats. You have the forest, you have the fields, and you have the wetlands, and so you're looking for birds that inhabit those different areas. Each of the different areas gives you different bonuses. Like this one gives you dice from the feeder, this one gives you eggs, and this one gives you cards depending on the action that you're taking. And when you have the bird cards in there, the more birds you have, the greater the benefit from that habitat when you do take the bonus from there. So I have a bunch of extra bags here. Silica gel packs are always great to keep around. They help to prevent warping from humidity. Some more tokens, the first player marker. What's this score thing? Oh, did I win that game? Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, so then you have this is this one here. This is a little thing that comes inside, holds all your cards neatly in there. And like I said, these are your bird cards here. And you see there's absolutely hundreds of these cards, and they are all different. Sorry, these are the bird cards. Yeah, so all these cards are bird cards, and they're all different. And you can see on them, it indicates the habitat that they live in, the types of food that they're eating. It tells you what kind of, that's how many points it's worth at the end of the game. That doesn't tell you what kind of nest it builds. Gives you an indication of a number of things. The actual wingspan of the bird. It's an ability that it has, but then it gives you some more informational text down here if you're really interested to find out more about it. So, and that's the great egret, the tufted titmouse, the eastern bluebird, all kinds. Like I said, these are hundreds and hundreds of cards here, every one a different bird. and each one with all that information contained therein. These are actually what these greenbacks is the objective cards. So you have these objectives, and these are secret to you. The other players don't know what your objectives are, but that's how you're going to be scoring a lot of your points at the end. And so you want to, it gives you some focus in terms of what kind of birds you're going to be going for, and yeah, that's going to be that. And some reference cards and more birds. Absolutely hundreds and hundreds of birds. And then these are the different tokens that have the different things. But they provide all these little cases and things. Normally I talked about looking at my games by getting nice little containers and stuff to hold all the materials. This game comes with it. So that is really a nice feature there. So during the game, everybody is taking a turn, and on their turn, what they're doing is they're just putting one of their cubes down to show which action they're taking. Are they taking, you have your 4 actions. You can play a bird card. You can gain food from the bird feeder. You can lay eggs, or you can draw new bird cards. And then, as I said, when you get the birds, you put them into their habitats, and then depending on where they are in their habitats, then you get more bonuses depending on how far along you've gone. You're trying to achieve your objective to score the most points by the end of the game. And there's this handy dandy little score tracker here, tells you what kinds of things you need to do for the end of the game scoring. So the birds, each bird has how many points, your bonus cards, which I showed you, your end of round goals, so there's some of those on the bird cards. Eggs, every egg you have is worth points. Food on cards, so some cards give you bonus points with that, and tucked cards, so some cards say tuck a card underneath this card to gain this benefit, and those are worth points at the end of the game too. Total all up, gives you your final score. Most points is the winner. That's how, in a nutshell, or in a eggshell, how you play Wingspan. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you have any questions about Wingspan, or if you have any other ideas for games you might like to see on the channel, please do leave me a message in the comments section below. I do love to hear from the viewers. If you have any other suggestions for topics of discussion you might like me to talk about, again, please leave me a message in the comments section below. But until next time, I'm Craig Thompson with the Board Game Teacher saying, thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?